Hello, my name's Kayla, this is Cinnamon the Score Bunny, and today we're going to talk about what would happen if Pokemon added a third type. Currently, there are monotype Pokemon, meaning one type, like Blastoise, and dual-type Pokemon, meaning two types, like Venusaur and Charizard. A lot of people have wondered, especially with Pokemon like Charizard, what would happen if a third type was added to the mix. For example, Charizard is fire-flying, but he kinda looks like a dragon, so what if he was fire-flying dragon? Being somebody who dabbles in competitive, I was super interested in what adding a third type would do to the mechanics of the game. So I did a bunch of math in Excel to figure this out. The first thing that's impacted by a Pokemon's type is Stab, which stands for Same Type Attack Bonus. Stab happens when a Pokemon uses an attack that's type matches its own type. Attacks can also be super effective, meaning the attack does more damage to the other Pokemon because it's weak to that type of attack. Keeping these things in mind, let's first look at the attacking potential of Pokemon based on their types. Because super effective usually means double damage, resistance means half damage, and can't hit is 0, I used a 1 to indicate regular damage, 2 for super effective, 0.5 for half damage, since that's basically half, and 0 for can't hit. Since we're specifically looking at attacking here as opposed to defending, and attacks only have one type, we're not going to be stacking the bonuses when we're looking at the attacking portion. Don't worry, that will come in the defending portion. As expected, Pokemon with more types have a better chance of being able to do stab, super effective hits than Pokemon with less types. A lot of competitive Pokemon will have different type moves so that they can cover their weaknesses. Even though those moves won't be stab, they'll at least be super effective so they won't get destroyed by a lot of different types of Pokemon. But now imagine those coverage moves that a Pokemon has are all stab. The damage output is just a lot more, allowing it to more easily pick off Pokemon that could potentially take it out. Next, let's look at how adding a third type would affect Pokemon's defenses. Unlike with attacking, where attacks only have one type, so the super effectiveness of it is only applied once, Pokemon that are defending from an attack take into account their entire type combination. For example, imagine Zacian Crown Form was being attacked by a fire type move. Zacian Crown Form is Fairy Steel. Fairy takes normal damage from fire-type attacks. This means that the Fairy type of Zacian contributes a 1 as the multiplier, meaning normal damage. However, Fire is super effective against Steel, so this contributes a 2 times or double multiplier. To calculate the overall damage effectiveness of a Fire-type attack against Zacian, we would need to multiply the 1 from the Fairy type by the 2 for the Steel type to get 2. This means that if Zacian was hit with a fire-type move, it would take double damage from that attack. Currently, with dual-type Pokemon, the most damage a Pokemon can take from an attack is 4 times, because if it's super weak to it twice, then 2 times 2 equals 4. For example, we see this with Pelipper, which is water-flying, and would take 4 times damage from an electric attack. This is applied the same way with resistances, with 0.5 being a regular resistance, and if both types resist, it would be 0.25. Now let's imagine Pokemon have a third type. We would need to multiply the different factors for each of their types in order to figure out how they would be when they were defending against a certain type of attack. For example, if a Pokemon had 3 types that were all weak to a certain type, that would be 2 times 2 times 2. Which equals 8. Similarly, if all 3 of a Pokemon's types resisted a move, it would be 0.5 times 0.5 times 0.5, which is 0.125 or 1/8. What this means for defenses for Pokemon with 3 types is that they can be very, very extremely defensive to certain attacks, and also very, very weak to certain attacks. So now that we've kind of dissected attacking and defending for Pokemon with 3 types, let's put all of this information together so that we can kind of see what the impact of a third type would be. As you can see from this chart, the more types that are added, the higher the average overall attacking sum. By this I mean they're more likely to hit with both super effective and stab attacks. We should also note that not every type combination is equal, so I included the minimum sums and maximum sums so you can kind of see the range of the different numbers of types. Still, almost every 3-type Pokemon will have a greater chance of having a super effective stab attack than pretty much any monotype Pokemon. Before I go into defense, remember it is better to have a lower defense score because that means that you get hit less often with super effective attacks. From the average overall defending sum, we can see that as more types are added, Pokemon overall become less and less defensive. But what's even more interesting about Pokemon's defenses when looking at type is that the more types that are added, the more range we have between the minimum defense values and the maximum defense values. This means that some 3-type combinations will be extremely not defensive, and other 3-type combinations will be extremely defensive. This makes sense because the way these defense multipliers work in Pokemon, being able to get to ×8 or 0.125 is a huge difference from what we have experienced so far in Pokemon. So it makes sense that these defenses, when you add more types, get further and further away from that middle value. So what would battles be like with Pokemon with 3 types? Well, we would expect to see a lot more super effective stab attacks, meaning that attacks are going to generally do more damage. When attacks do more damage, this tends to make speed even more of a priority, which it already kind of is a priority, so just imagine speed being even important because getting hit with a single attack could potentially mean you're doomed. And adding the defenses in combination with that, it means that some Pokemon are going to be very good at handling this more intense format based on their type, and some Pokemon would be very extremely bad. If we had 3 types, we're gonna see Pokemon that are crazy powerful and Pokemon that are crazy weak. While there are some Pokemon that are stronger and weaker than others, generally Pokemon has tried to make it at least somewhat balanced so that multiple Pokemon can be used. But this could make things just absolutely crazy. Like battles going so quick where it's just like super effective attack, oh, no defenses, lots of defenses, just absolutely insane. Don't believe me that this is how it would go? Well, let's look at 2 of the most popular Pokemon in competitive, Crowned Zacian and Landorus, and try to make them even stronger by adding a 3rd type. Zacian Crown form is Steel Fairy. Its attacking sum is a pretty decent 23, but what makes it absolutely amazing is its defending sum of 13.25. When just looking at dual types, the Steel Fairy combination is tied with Steel Flying for least weaknesses when not taking abilities like Levitate into account. Zacian having one of the most defensible typings makes it really difficult to kill. Put on that its very high speed and attack, it can just destroy things without ever dying. Now let's imagine that there's a new Pokemon similar to Zacian that also has the water type. Its attacking sum would be a whopping 26, and its defending sum would be just 12.5. It would be even more defensible than Zacian, and it would hit harder. Like, how would you even deal with this? If its stats were good, there's just no way. Let's now look at Landorus, an example of a Pokemon with a high attacking sum. Landorus, being both flying and ground, has an attacking sum of 26. This is one of the highest chances to have a super effective stab attack in the game currently. Only Ground Ice and Fighting Ice have higher chances of being able to hit with a super effective stab attack, but they have significantly higher weaknesses at 21.5 and 22.5, meaning even though they're more likely to hit hard, they probably won't get to do it as much because they will get fainted. Now let's imagine we have a new Pokemon like Landorus that is flying, ground, and steel. The attacking sum goes up slightly to 28, meaning it has even higher chances of hitting with a super effective stab attack than Landorus, and the defending sum goes down to 13.25, meaning a flying, ground, steel Landorus would have more attacking power than normal Landorus while having the exact same defensive resistance capabilities as a crowned form Zacian. So yeah, if you think that would make Pokemon a little bit insane, I'm right there with you. Looking at all this, I don't know how likely it is that there will ever be Pokemon with 3 types. Granted, I guess they could just be careful to choose type combinations that aren't too OP or too weak, but it seems like something that's just gonna create a lot more issues than it's worth. Let me know your thoughts about 3-type Pokemon in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. These are the type of videos that I really like to make, where I take a concept from Pokemon and analyzing it using math and science and history and literature and all of that kind of information. Hope you learned something new, and